Hi everyone, I'm Joe from BookBub.
And I'm Francis.
And today we have a guest, which we are very excited about. We have Jessica Fox. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Our
course.
pleasure.
So Jessica Fox, you guys actually might have read about her a little bit on our blog. We're very excited to have her. She's a writer and a film director, and she has a pretty fascinating background. I'm going to embarrass her. She was a resident storyteller for NASA, and then in her mid-20s, she packed up her life and basically moved to Scotland to work at a bookstore, correct?
Yes, exactly.
And she then co-created the Open Book, which is an Airbnb residency program where you can basically rent out this bookshop in the apartment and be a bookseller for a week or two.
Totally.
Or whatever,
Live
right?
the life in Scotland.
Yeah. So we know you're all excited about that. We are also excited about that. Francis is already on the waiting list.
I'm on the waiting list for 3 years out, I think.
So we're going to talk more about that program. We're also going to talk about Jessica's memoir, which is 3 things you need to know about rockets, which we're really excited about. And we're going to hear more about her journey. So
Definitely.
very excited.
We're also, as we frequently are, we're giving away a copy of the beautiful book. This is a new cover, right?
Yes, new cover.
Yeah, stunning.
And new ending.
And a new ending.
Oh,
That's very interesting. So if you read the book, you should pick it up again. You can win a chance. You can have a chance to win this book. All you have to do is tag a friend in the comments. Tag somebody who would love to go to this, read this book, or see the Open Book in Scotland in Wigtown.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Also, a few of our readers submitted questions, so stay tuned to see if your question is going to be presented today. And feel free to ask questions in the comments.
Yes, we'd love to hear your questions. And again, tag a friend who would be interested in this.
Yeah, also one last piece of exciting news. The book and another book was optioned together to be a series by Annapurna Pictures.
Yeah, so my book and the bookseller who I feature in that book, his book, Sean Bithell, it's called Diary of a Bookseller. Both our books have been optioned together for
That's so
a series.
Very exciting.
That is so cool. So keep an eye on that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's jump in.
Cool. That sounds great.
So for anyone who doesn't know about the Open Book, could you talk about the Open Book program?
Sure. So the Open Book is a bookshop holiday, the first ever bookshop holiday on Airbnb, where anyone like me who had a vision where they want to work in a bookshop by the sea in Scotland, because who wouldn't, can come, and you basically show up and you get a key and you open up your very own bookshop. It comes fully stocked. It's really sweet. It's in the heart of Scotland's national book town, very tiny town that has about 900 people and 16 bookshops right by the sea, and your bookshop would be one of them.
I didn't realize there was so many. 16.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
so
16 book-related businesses.
Okay.
So they do, some of them aren't actually open bookshops, but they sell online. Some are bookbinders. A lot of them are bookshops. Some are new, some are secondhand books. But when you get there, your apartment's right above. So you get to run your own bookshop. And you can do really whatever you want. If you wanted to close the bookshop the whole time and just like look at the area, you can totally do that. That'd be sad when we find that most people actually just really want to stay in the bookshop, which is also a shame because it's one of the most beautiful places in the universe. So you can have private beaches within walking distance, whiskey distilleries. So it's worth getting out and about while you're there.
We actually received a question yesterday asking, do people have time to sightsee? So it sounds like they can totally.
Oh yeah, you have full autonomy. So when you go there, it is your bookshop. So if you want to open up for like on high noon for half an hour and then like the rest of the day have a holiday, you can do that too. So yeah, people definitely get out and about.
That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, it is. It is. Wigtown, which is in Galloway, which is in southwest Scotland, is the most gorgeous and remote and untouched part of Scotland, and it's like mini Scotland rolled into one. So if you like the Highlands, or you want ancient woodland, or if you want empty beaches or ruined castles or like small little villages, you get everything there.
Okay.
That's so cool. That's a good segue into the next question is, what do you think, having run this, is the most rewarding aspect of staying at the Open Book?
Okay, so for me, when I came, the most rewarding aspect of going to Wigtown was the community there. It is like, unlike any other community I've been to, you have a really diverse group of people in terms of ages and from where people come from, because they love books in the book town and they come to settle there. And so I really hope that when people come to the Open Book, not only do they get to enjoy the bookshop, but you really do get to know the community and you feel a part of the community for the time that you're there. And I think that's the most rewarding bit.
That sounds special.
Sweet.
It's really special. Yeah. Definitely.
Taking a step back, so you talk about in your book how you left NASA and you decided to move to Scotland. Could you talk about that transition of moving from LA to Scotland and what that was like for you?
Yeah, well, so first, I mean, I loved my life in LA. I was
Yeah.
in my early 20s. I was like a total hipster. I had a job at NASA, which
Yeah,
was
it sounds pretty
awesome.
fun.
Right.
Yeah, like who would love it?
Yeah.
I was in Silver Lake, which for people who don't know Los Angeles very well, it's a really gorgeous community tucked into the hills. It's
Okay.
quite
Mhm.
lush and outside Hollywood. But I was really overworked and I was aspiring director, so I ran my company at night, worked during the day, and I started having visions. And the visions were of a bookshop by the sea in Scotland. Having visions wasn't unusual. What I do is listen to music, and I close my eyes, and like I write scenes based on like what I see.
Uh-huh.
But one image kept on coming back to me. And the image was a long wooden counter, and I could actually like see someone behind the counter in a big woolly jumper. For Americans, this is better. And translate. Google Translate. And then I could picture them like kind of drinking tea and looking really cozy, reading a book, and I could hear like a bell above the door, and I like panned out and I could see I was in a bookshop. And I thought, this is interesting, and it just kept on coming back. And I was like, this doesn't feel like a film. And genuinely, the more I started thinking about this vision, the more I could see myself behind the counter.
Yeah.
And it really was quite jarring. It's the first time that's ever happened. I usually dream of characters or distant places. And the feeling didn't leave me. It like really haunted me. So I thought, okay, late one night, I just typed in use Bookshop Scotland to Google, and Wigtown came up. So now we know Wigtown is Scotland's national book town.
Mhm.
And I looked at the lists of bookshops and I was like, oh, one of them would probably take me for a little holiday. There's kind of a hubris to dreaming where I was like, that vision felt so real. I'm sure maybe just one of them would say yes. So I contacted the first bookshop on the list, which was the bookshop that was Sean Bithel's bookshop. And within a couple of emails, I thought I had been corresponding with this like elderly man who like ran this like dusty bookshop, and I convinced him to let me stay there for a while. And so I booked a holiday ticket over. So I didn't actually intend on moving.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Went for a month or?
Yeah, I went for,
Yeah.
I think 5 weeks,
Okay.
which was
Okay.
very generous holiday, but I
Okay.
had worked for 2 years without one. So I was quite a
Okay.
Wow.
workaholic. So I was like, I'm going to take everything now and just like go for it. There was a huge literary festival while I was there, and I made really good friends. And of course, I fell in love with the bookshop owner while I was staying there, because he wasn't an elderly man. He was like this, like gorgeous, totally like that. Yeah. Yes, he was like a gorgeous, young, like curly-haired, like disheveled bookseller, like kind of slightly grumpy, but in like a lovely, like Jane Eyre kind of like way, like Mr. Rochester. So anyway, I was like swept off my feet and decided I'm going to make the move and go back.
Fascinating.
So that's how the story started.
Wow.
I was reading that part in your book where you're describing your vision of yourself, and I was like, this is so cinematic.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's dangerous when you're a filmmaker and you start like experimenting around your own life like that. Like I learned the hard way, and that's slightly what the book's about too.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, if you're just joining us, we're speaking to Jessica Fox, who wrote the book, The 3 Things You Know About Rockets, which has been re-released with a new cover and a new ending. And if you want a chance to win this, all you have to do is tag a friend who would love this book, who would love to visit Wigtown, the national seaside book town in Scotland.
Definitely.
Yes. And so to continue, at what point in your journey did you realize you wanted to write a book, or what really started to inspire you writing a memoir?
To write a memoir.
Yeah.
It's a really good question, because I love writing. I used to write scripts because I had a lot of English teachers tell me that I couldn't write. So I like you. I know, like really cruel. I don't think they
You
do
really
that to
showed
people.
them.
I don't know if they still do that to kids anymore.
I
but
thought you
maybe-
were gonna be like, they all inspired me.
I thought they were like, they thought you.
No. I remember writing these like really intricate, like dark mysteries when I was little, and I have loved creative writing. And every time I got papers back, it's like, you don't have any sense of tense. Like, what are you doing with this? And it was just killed me.
Wow.
So I thought, well, maybe I'll write screenplays because there's no prose involved. Like, I don't actually have to write full sentences often. So I would have never written a memoir in my life. But during one of the literary festivals, a woman named Anna Pasternak, who was a journalist and an author, was like, what is this random American who worked for NASA doing, like floating around Wigtown? And she started asking me about my story. And she said, look, this is a great story. Can I just please write this small little article about it? I'm like, well, I'm really quite a private person. I was like, I guess if you do, but like make Wigtown, like the main character, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, it's fine. It's just in a paper called the Daily Mail. And because I'm American, I was just like, it sounds like a local newspaper. Like, I
Yes,
think that's like
absolutely.
totally fine. And so she prints not a story about Wigtown. She did a great job, but it was like definitely like a hardcore romance like thing about with all our names in the Daily Mail.
That is so funny.
And people do love it. And I kept on getting calls from publishers being like,
Yeah.
have you thought about writing your story down?
Interesting.
And I kept on saying no. Because I was like, I can't, I was like, you don't understand. I can't write. Like, it would be like a disaster. Like, go away. And
That's
one,
so funny.
I haven't heard what my English teacher said.
totally, exactly. And then that lady, named Vanessa Beaumont, her previous, before she got married name, and she was awesome. And she started talking to me. She's like, look, before you just say no completely, why don't you just write me the opening and we'll take it from there. So I was like, and she's like, I'll tell you if you can write or not. So I wrote her the opening. She's like, yeah, we want this book. Like, can
The
you please?
opening's incredible.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you, thank
so
you.
I can't believe anyone told you you can't write.
Thank you.
I mean it.
But that's how it happened. That's like a very long-winded way of how it happened.
That's such a great story.
That is a good story.
I feel like everything we've heard about this so far is in itself a fantastic story. Yeah, there's such a good narrative in every aspect.
Don't know, but no, that's how it happened.
That's
So,
excellent.
What kind of responses have you gotten from readers about your book?
oh my gosh, I mean, we all over the board. There's a couple of people who were like really upset with some of the stories. They tended to be local people, and they thought I described the area too nicely. Like, they didn't actually like growing up in the area, and so they're like, "How could you like this place?" And I was like, "That's interesting." However, they are in the minority. Like, across the board, I have a lot of people who also love Southwest Scotland, and they thought captured the place in the way they saw it. We've had a lot of people show up at the bookshop, hoping to have a very similar experience, which has been really weird.
Just be like,
Hard
can I
to just
say?
Which is sort of like, where's Sean and can I stay here? It's like a kind of bizarre
Oh
eat,
my
pray,
God.
love situation with people coming.
That's amazing.
So, but otherwise, people have been awesome. It's been translated into German, and it's both in the US at the moment and now in the UK. So it's also fun to see how different
Oh,
cultures
that's so
just
cool.
there's a universal love of bookshops that seems
Right.
to tie people
Yeah.
together.
That's amazing.
I just saw Billy comment saying, "This is such a fun interview. I'm going to definitely get the book."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you find that
Definitely
when the book went more international, more people were trying to stay from different countries?
100%.
Okay.
Definitely. And I think because Sean's book's done even better. So Diary of the
Wow.
Bookseller is even more widely sold. We have a lot more people coming to Wigtown in the bookshops because of what they've read. So which is awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a part of the world that really should be shared. It's such a
Mhm.
great place that it's really nice people are coming.
That transitions well into our next question,
Yeah.
which is, this is sort of a hard question, but what's one of your favorite things about Scotland as a country?
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah, I feel like that was a tough
That
one.
is so hard because I don't know. how
We have a
many
lot of
people-
Outlander fans.
Well,
so
I
we
was
have-
just gonna say
so we have to ask this question.
she came to Wigtown and she loved the area. And there's
Diana,
yes,
the author.
Wow.
and no, I didn't actually. I wasn't there at the time.
Oh no.
But she did come to Wigtown, loved it, and there are a lot of scenes in Outlander kind of shot around the area, and
Okay.
a couple people from Wigtown that are in the show.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
cool.
So Sam
You good?
Hugan is
Mhm.
from Dumfries, which is the
Okay.
biggest town over from Wigtown. So,
Oh,
and
always say
so
that.
is
like
Calvin
Dumfries,
Harris.
Really?
So good-looking
Calvin
men
Harris?
in Southwest Scotland coming over.
Yeah, maybe you could have the same experience. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's a great part of the world. But
That's so cool.
so okay, favorite thing about Scotland in general. I think I've always felt very welcome in Scotland. I think in terms of being an immigrant in a different country, I found the country open, really welcoming. There's a lot of space, but incredibly supportive of the arts
Mhm,
and a huge amount of wild nature that you can easily get to.
mhm.
So you really do feel like you are your own hero in like an epic journey. If you want to wear like pretty dresses all day long and stand on sea cliffs, but like not too close so you don't fall off, but like your sense of the romantic and is really fulfilled there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That was a good advertisement for Scotland.
I love it. I really
Sense
think
of romantic.
it's not it's not only the best place to visit because there's so much to do, but I love living there. Absolutely love living there.
Yes.
And so what is one of your, before the open book, when you're first working in the bookshop, what is some, like one or a couple of your fondest memories
Oh my
working
gosh.
in a bookshop?
Oh, it's really hard because I think the longer you work in the bookshop, the more crabby and cynical you become about humanity, which
I like your honesty.
Yeah.
really, like, customers start becoming an annoyance. Like, a lot of people come in. Jen Campbell wrote a great book called Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops.
Yeah.
And they do.
Oh,
So,
yes. Yeah, I've heard
so
about this.
people come in, and she also wrote a great book called The Bookshop Book, which is worth getting because they get to see bookshops around the world and hear stories about them. People come in being like, oh, I'm looking for a book, and it's by an author. Really, thank you. Like, there's a lot to go on there.
Oh, okay.
Not like-
I'll get it.
Or the color, probably.
Or the
right?
color,
Yeah.
or like they tell you, they're like, can I tell you why I'm looking for this? And you're like after like day in, day out, please don't. Just being quite mean. There's a lot of lovely memories of working in a bookshop. I mean, there's some people who take their kids in and they're sharing like their favorite book with their children, which is always really fun. It's so much fun to see kids so
Yeah.
enthusiastic about reading.
Yeah.
That's always awesome. I remember I talk about in the book, there was one woman who came in and she was a little disheveled because of the rain, and she spoke in such a soft voice. And it was after a very long day, and it was nearing Valentine's Day. And she came on in and she said, look, I'm looking for a book, and she gave me the name of it. And I could barely hear her. And I said, can you say that again? So she kind of looked around and she told me the name again. I typed it into the computer. And she said, I said, it might be in the fiction section. And she goes, no, you don't understand. And she said, it's an erotica book. And I'm like, oh. And
that's why she's whispering.
Yeah, and I kind of focused on her again. And she totally changed my, she seemed so much more sparkly and like interesting than I had first given her credit for. And she told me that like women her age, she must have been in her mid-80s, she said that people don't assume you still have those feelings, and she felt really invisible. And she said that, she still has like huge desire and a sense of like romance, and that she loves those books. She feels like it kind of brings her back to life again. And it was like a very intense, kind of amazing conversation to have with her. So you have
that's very vulnerable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Really, especially for a British person. So it was, you have magical moments like that. There was also a really freaky moment where I was up late one night making a film in the bookshop, and it was rounding about 3 o'clock in the morning because I was really late working. It was stop motion animation. And out of the corner of my eye, I see something fly by my head. And a big bang landed next to me. I looked down and I picked it up and I freaked out. It was a book called Science of the Mind by, I think it's Ernest Holmes. And I think I got that right. And it was a book I had been looking for since I was about 18 years old. I had gone to every single used bookshop looking for this book. It was a book Joseph Campbell recommended. And I couldn't find it. I could only find it online. And I had just scoured Sean's bookshop looking for it, and I was in something called the train room, which is a transportation room. I don't know why the book was there. I don't know why it fell off the shelf or near my head, but it like literally landed at my feet. It took me about a year until I was brave enough to read it because it freaked me out so much.
Wow. Those were good memories.
So like magical things, annoying customers, amazing connections. It was great. Yeah.
That's really cool.
One just logistical question, because I know a lot of people are going to ask us this. How can they actually sign up to possibly go to the open book?
Here's the trick, because we are booked out on Airbnb completely for the next 3 years, and they only let you book 3 years in advance. There is, if you contact the open book on Airbnb, they will give you a link so you can sign up to the waiting list. The waiting list is also quite long. However, there are cancellations. Okay. We are looking to do a second location. They're looking to do a second location. So the best thing you can do is follow them on Facebook, because they will announce cancellations and another location that you can do. Also look on Airbnb, because there are some absolutely gorgeous, fun Airbnbs within Wigtown itself. And the bookshops are so nice that if you come there and tell them that you have a dream to like stay in a bookshop, you just might be able to make you a friend, and they might let you. So it is worth coming.
That's a good pro tip.
That is great. I'm also looking out for that new location. I signed up for the waiting list as soon as I saw it.
I'm so glad it's worth the wait. It is worth the wait.
I'll do it in 4 years. Cool. I'll get there. Again, one more time, if you're just joining us, we're interviewing Jessica Fox, who wrote the book, The 3 Things, just 3 Things You Need to Know About Rockets. Been re-released with a new cover and a new ending. Very exciting. You should all check it out. One other question. This is actually a question from a Facebook fan.
Yes.
Deb wants to
Hi,
know.
Deb.
Yeah, hey Deb, hope you're watching. Deb wants to know, does anyone ever insist on continuing to work at the open book after
Like they
their
won't
week?
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question because what's really fun is that we've had what I call repeat offenders. Maybe I should come up with a nicer name for it, but people who come to the open book and will come back like now year after year after year.
Yeah.
In one case, we have had someone move there. So we've had a group called the Bookshop Band who stayed at the open book, and then they ended up moving to Wigtown.
A group of friends.
A bookshop band. So they're a married couple who have a bookshop band.
Oh, I read about that.
Yes, so they stayed in the open book as a residency, and then they were like, we like this place so much, we're going to live here. And we've had a couple of people who, if they weren't living abroad, would do the same thing. So definitely, it is addictive.
Yeah.
It's a great life.
That's a real
That's so
testament
cool.
to the program too.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Good question, Deb. Thanks.
Before we let you go,
Yes.
since we have you here and you've been a bookseller and you're a pro, could you recommend? Do you like that intro?
Yeah, I love it. I like being a pro. You're gonna come with me anywhere I go.
Could you please recommend? I know you have a few books here. Some of your favorite books for readers.
Yes. So on the blog, I definitely recommended some of my favorites. So it's worth
Yes.
checking out.
Yeah.
And we have that link in the bio, so check that out after the video.
Yes, but like some additional ones because I'm a big nerd. I love science. I also love anything romantic. So there's a couple of books that merge the two that I really like. One's called The Sea of Cortez by Steinbeck. A lot of people would recognize the name Steinbeck, and he co-wrote it with a man named Ed Ricketts. Ed Ricketts was a scientist, naturalist, and he was one of the first scientists to study tidal pools. And before it sounds boring, Ed Ricketts gets inspired Doc in Cannery Row, the famous book by Steinbeck. And Ed Ricketts was this like incredible philosopher, slight womanizer, amazing guy. And the two of them got in a boat together and sailed off to the Sea of Cortez to collect specimens. But along the way, they espouse like philosophy and wisdom about life. And it is so beautifully written and so amazing. I quote it in the book. It's worth checking out that book. Couple of others. Interpretive Maladies by Jean-Paul Lahiri, I love. I have a slightly short attention span, so short stories are awesome. And these are beautiful short stories, really, really gorgeous. It takes you everywhere from India to, I think one's set in Boston, near where we are right now.
Okay, nice.
So that's an awesome, awesome book. For any Anne of Green Gables fans out there,
We have a lot of them.
oh my
Yeah,
God,
we do have so
stop.
many.
Yeah,
The
I was
best
surprised
book
we didn't have
ever.
a copy in the office.
Well, I actually love Anna Lee. We can get into
I
that
saw
another
that. Yeah,
time
yeah.
because it has Miss Lavender in it. I'm sure a lot of people out there will understand. But there is a rare Ella Montgomery book that I would recommend called The Blue Castle. The Blue Castle is awesome, and it's about a woman way older than the character of Anne gets to, and Anne of Avonlea thinks she's in her late 20s, but at that time it was seen as being a spinster. And she wakes up on her birthday and decides to totally reject this title of spinster and lead this life that goes in the face of her community. And it is the most fun book to read with like an awesome, dashing hero in it. She's totally like an activated heroine. She's really amazing for the time. And it's a really unique book. I've not read anything like it, and I think it's a bit of a twist on the Bluebeard fairy tale.
Okay.
The Blue Castle.
Okay.
Totally
Blue
worth
Castle.
reading.
That's
cool.
a good recommendation because I feel like there's so many Anne of Green Gables fans, but maybe this is like lesser known, right?
Totally.
Mhm.
Lesser known.
so-
It is, and it's still really satisfying.
Okay.
Another one, maybe the last one I'd recommend, so I can stop talking because this is dangerous to let me do something. But I didn't even know I could do live things.
Oh,
They
This is
talk so much
bad.
about
We'll
they're
never get
loving
sick
it.
of
Yeah.
recommendations, right?
I talk to you guys all out
I
there.
saw a couple comments of people saying those books look so fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I mean, there's so many, like Miss of Avalon. I'm sure tons of people read that. You got to read that.
Yeah.
Emily Dickinson. Read about her life. Read about like just her poetry. Even some of the opening lines she has. Hope is the thing with feathers. Is one of like a favorite. She has such gorgeous poetry. I would get into the world of Emily Dickinson a lot. She has, especially this time right now in America, she has a line that says the soul has bandaged moments. And I thought, God, what like a powerful line. Even if you just read one line of her poetry, it has like worlds in it that you can sit with and see how they make you feel. So,
Yeah.
Even making someone who doesn't read that much poetry want to read it.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wanna
She's
read those all
not
now.
she's not easy.
Yeah.
She'll
Mhm.
test your brain. She's so worth it. She's
Yeah.
she's just great.
Do you recommend sitting and just reading through the book? Like,
Do you know what? Actually, I was before we went
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
I was like, read poetry in like a gorgeous armchair with a thing of port near a fire, and like go for it. But I actually have a book of poetry near my bed, and like before I sleep, I do something called like Bible dipping, where like I don't look at the page, but like I go like this, and like I read whatever line it is, and I just
That's
like
so
think
sweet.
about it before bed.
Oh, I like that.
That's so nice.
That's a good last tip.
Yeah.
Last tip.
Well, thank you so much for your recommendations
Yeah,
and
thank
being
you,
here.
Jessica.
Thank you for having me on
Of
your Facebook
course.
show. I like it. a lot.
Yeah,
My
it was a
pleasure.
lot of fun.
Thank you.
And again, this is Jessica Fox. Please check out her book.
3 things you need to know about rockets.
Yes, and
Yep.
if you want to read more about her, we have a link above, and you can also find her book there. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you guys very much.
Enjoy your nights.
Bye.